Cold email can be an insanely powerful tool for acquiring targeted, high-quality clients for B2B. But you're either not sure where to start or you've been trying but have faced poor results. So it kind of starts to feel like cold email will just never work out the way you want it to work for you. Well, the good news is there's a new and simple way to approach cold email that will bring you paying clients. In fact, I used this exact system to go from struggling to acquire any clients on my own to landing clients worth over 100k versus cold email. So in this ultimate guide to cold email, I'll walk you through why and when cold email works, how to determine if cold email is right for you, what the top 10% of companies do to make cold email work for them, the insanely common mistakes the other 90% of companies make that you should avoid like the plague, how to build a targeted email list of decision makers who want what you offer, crafting cold emails that don't just get opened but also get replies, scaling your campaigns with automation tools while avoiding spam filters, how to analyze and improve your campaigns for consistent results. I'll also give you a cheat sheet of all the numbers you should expect to see, such as how many emails you'll likely have to send to get a sales call. And I'll give you some advanced hacks I've learned from the best in the industry that aren't shared anywhere else. This isn't just another how-to. By the end, you will have a system better than most paid courses. And just so you know who I am, I'm John, the founder of MinMax Media, and it is my mission to create the most simple, efficient, and effective client acquisition system possible, something I've dubbed the Controlled Growth Framework, and to help you by teaching you how to set it up yourself. There's a link in the description if you want to know more. All right, let's start with this. Why cold email? Why should you even bother? Well, cold email has some massive advantages that make it a go-to strategy. Firstly, it's direct. Unlike ads that rely on algorithms or cold calls that get gatekeepers, emails get straight to the decision maker. There's no middlemen. And don't worry, in a minute I'll explain how you find these people and their emails. Secondly, it's scalable. Once you have nailed your system, you can send hundreds or even thousands of emails a day with minimal effort. Third, it's measurable. You can track open rates, replies, and conversations, making it easy to tweak and optimize. And finally, it is cheap. Compared to other strategies such as advertising, which incurs ad costs, or cold calling, which requires finding and training staff, it's a really easy way to get started. But let's keep it real, there are some downsides to cold email too. Firstly, spam filters. If you're not careful, your email can end up in the dreaded spam folder. This is very common for most companies trying cold email with no idea what they're doing. Secondly, it's crowded. Decision makers get bombarded with emails because it's so cheap, everyone's doing it. Some industries are worse than others, but either way it is saturated, which is why that pitch slapping approach doesn't work. Everyone's already heard your pitch, likely 5 times that week, meaning we need a different approach, which I'll walk you through shortly. Thirdly, reputation risk. If you blast bad emails to a bad list, you can damage your domain's reputation, and you can also damage the reputation of your brand too if you're too salesy. The good news is I'll show you how to avoid these pitfalls and make your emails not just land, but also get replies. Okay, so we understand why it's good and bad, but how do you know if it's right for your situation? Luckily, there are some simple questions you can ask that will let you figure out if cold email is right for your business. Here's a simple framework. Firstly, are you B2B or B2C? Cold email only works for B2B. In fact, for B2C in many countries, it's illegal to email someone a cold email without prior permission. Next, do you have relatively high average order values? If your average deal size is less than, say, $500, cold email probably isn't really worth it. The cost of sourcing leads and setting up campaigns will likely outweigh the returns. If you check these boxes though, cold email could be your secret weapon. So let's start with the most important part, your list. So here's the deal, we had a campaign running smoothly, but we wanted to streamline the process even more. Now I heard some people talk about places like Apollo or Instantly to source leads. So what we did is we switched our process and started sourcing leads with these platforms. Now fast forward a couple of months and our email campaigns looked awful. Replies had plummeted through the floor and I was questioning, well, is email now broken? And thankfully, that wasn't the case, but it took me a while to figure out what was actually going wrong. It was actually our list. So here's the deal, your cold email campaign will live or die on the quality of your list. A bad list equals bad results. It's that simple. Now what was happening in our instance was that in an effort to simplify our processes, we were buying lead information for leads that were insanely easy to acquire. So they were just burnt out from cold email. So here's a basic rule. The easier a lead's information or email is to acquire, the more emails they'll likely receive, and therefore the less responsive they will be. So how can we avoid this and go about sourcing red hot lead lists? Step one, we need to define your ideal client profile or ICP. So ask yourself, firstly, who are you targeting? And you need to be really specific. So industries, job titles, company sizes, the more points you can get, the better. Next up, what pain points do they have that you can solve? And finally, what's their decision-making power? We want to only target people who can actually say yes. So for example, we don't just want to target business owners. Instead, we want to go for something like marketing directors at SaaS companies between company sizes of 50 and 500 employees in North America, struggling to increase demo bookings.
Wow!
Now, the best way to find out who your ideal persona is to actually look at your existing customer base and just target more of those exact types of people. Step two is to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator to find leads. So Sales Navigator is my go-to tool for sourcing B2B leads. As I said, buying lead lists often results in lower quality or more saturated emails. But Sales Navigator's data is the most up-to-date. It also allows you to check the lead's personal and company LinkedIn pages before you reach out to them, which increases lead quality. Now, you might be thinking, but I can't get emails from LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and you would be right. But I have a solution for that I'll talk you through in a second. So here's how to set it up. Firstly, we're going to navigate to LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and we're going to go to the lead search filter. We're then going to fill in the filters with data you have from when you defined your persona. Also, make sure you have all the filters showing by pressing this arrow on the left-hand side. Now, here's an advanced tip. You can have searches of tens of thousands of leads, but LinkedIn will only let you view up to 2,500 lead results across 100 pages. So, as a result, you need to get every search you do below the 2.5K mark. Otherwise, any leads above that, you won't be able to use in the next steps. You can cut this number down by breaking up your lead searches into sub-searches by adding extra criteria. Now, once you have your search, you could just move on to the next step. But there's a little bonus you can add here to elevate yourself to the next level. If you have the time, you can manually go down the list and just quickly check if the leads are qualified. For any that are, save them to a list by pressing save on the right-hand side. Then, when you've been through the search, you can open up the saved list ready for export, which gives you a pre-vetted list. And another advanced tip, because I like your vibe, sticking around watching this video like a champ, under Save Leads and Accounts or Lead Lists, you can exclude people you've already saved as a lead, which means you won't be going back over duplicates or reaching out to people multiple times, which is pro tip. Now, we want to move on to export our list. So we've used a few different tools to do this. Originally, we used something called hunter.io to manually find information. Then we used a few others, including Pippi Leads. But right now, we're currently using Evaboot as it's the easiest and most effective we've found. Next up, step 3, we need to verify your list. So what does this mean and why is it important? Because let's be honest, it sounds boring. Ultimately, this is one of those steps that everyone skips. Then it causes loads of problems and you're left scratching your head wondering why. Basically, if you send emails to incorrect or non-existent email addresses, your emails will bounce. And if we keep getting bounces, eventually your emails will be shut down. Fun! It's not actually fun, it's actually really, really annoying. We also need to check our emails to ensure they are going to business email accounts, so no Gmail or Outlook type personal email domains. To check this, we need to verify our lists. Thankfully, Evaboot will do this for us. This keeps your bounce rate below 5%, which is critical for staying out of spam. Okay, so now we have a list of highly qualified leads, but what are we going to send them? How can we craft the perfect email? Okay, so I hear the same story over and over again. Someone will hop on a call with us to try and learn how we can help them set up a client acquisition system with our signature system, the Control Growth Framework. By the way, if you want one-on-one help getting any of this sorted and getting an extra 10 high-intent sales calls every month, there's a link below. You can learn how the full system works and see if it's right for your exact situation. Anyway, they hop on this call with us and they tell me they've tried manual outreach, but it just didn't work. Then, literally within minutes, it becomes abundantly clear why it's not worked, and it's usually always the same thing. You look at their approach and their emails are doing everything wrong. Long, wordy, salesy, and tedious. Their emails are the equivalent of a stranger walking up to you in the street creepily and tapping you on the shoulder, immediately asking you to marry them. It's just a logical list of their services with the sign-off line, "Are you free for a call to discuss synergies?" Now let's ask yourself the question, right? If you got an email that said that, would you reply? No. You wouldn't. This is the first place that everyone goes, and it's what the 90% of companies that are struggling do. The reason is their emails come from a place of taking rather than giving. Hell, you'll even get people thanking you for your cold emails if you use the second approach I'll talk you through in a second. Now, your subject line determines whether your email gets opened, so aim for curiosity here. This first example is a classic, but is unfortunately becoming less effective the more popular it has become. The bonus here is you can use it in all instances. It's not industry or approach specific. But some more examples are quick idea for you, name, did you see this? Or name, I made this for you. Once we have our subject line, we need the first line of the email. When someone sees the email in their inbox, they'll be able to see the first line. So again, the goal is to spark curiosity so they open, and also to avoid saying anything that makes it obvious it's a cold email or anything that triggers sales resistance. So as a general rule of thumb, we want to write in an informal tone, as if we already know the person already. And we want all of our communications to come from an individual, not from a company. Now there's two core types of emails that we've seen work. This first one is a pitch more focused on your core offer. And this works when you have a unique offer, or if your target audience isn't already saturated with cold email. It can work if those criteria aren't met, but it will be less effective. The goal of this email is to push to a sales call fairly quickly. So here's how it works. Hey, first name. Then we can add personalization or an icebreaker if you have the ability to do so. We help, then enter who you help and what you help them achieve with, and then you enter how you help them to achieve that thing. Then we want to use a short 2-line case study to give an example. We use credibility by starting with a company or association they're familiar with and give results with a specific number attached. An example of this would be, we recently helped Microsoft's marketing team to increase their return on ad spend on LinkedIn by 3.5 times within 30 days of working with us. Then we move on to ask them a question about the result they want. So, can you get more of X result at company name? Let me know and I can send over a few times to chat. Cheers, and then you sign off with whatever your name is. So that's the more direct approach. But what if you don't have an amazing offer? What if you're not Blue Ocean? And what if your audience is insanely saturated with cold email already, which I'll be honest, is probably most of you watching this video. Well, now we shift to a more soft touch, indirect approach. The idea being that instead of going straight to pitching a call, we instead pitch a lead magnet. This means offering something that is of actual value to the person that they would normally have to pay for, but for free. And we do this with minimal friction. Some examples of this are, for SaaS, we can offer an exclusive free trial. For web design agencies, we can offer a video review of their website showcasing how they can improve conversion rates. For IT service companies, we can offer an audit of their existing systems to see what can be improved. So here's an example email using the IT service company. Hey name, I was going through the, whatever their company name is, website and found some vulnerabilities which are affecting your IT security. They are, however, easy to fix. I recorded a quick personalized video explaining. Mind if I send it over to you? Cheers, and then you sign off with your name. We can also add in a PS section here to give more context. So for example, PS, some context, we work with small companies in the whatever geographical area you're in to help them streamline and save money on their IT. We've got over 100 clients and a 5-star rating on Google with over 70 reviews. Now, as you can see in this example, we're just trying to offer value and it's really easy for the person to reply. They don't need to get on a call, they just need to reply yes. Then we can record a custom video for them talking through the issues we've identified and giving recommendations. During that video, we can then upsell to the next step of the process, for example, a sales call. So here's a few extra tips around email sequences that will elevate you to the level of guru. Firstly, use spin tags to create variations in your emails. This creates variations of sentences or words and stops your emails from going into spam. Here's some simple examples of spin tags you can use instantly. instantly. Also, when sending emails, your open and response rates will drop off a cliff after the third email. So never make an email sequence more than 3 emails long. This will also allow you to send a higher volume of emails to people. Also, not all times for sending emails are equal. Here is a list of times and days which are best for sending cold email. Okay, so now we have our list and we know what we're sending, but how do we send them in a way that's going to be easy, automated and scalable? Well, a lot of people I speak to don't know this, but you have to use specific tools for cold outreach. So if you're using HubSpot or MailChimp to reach out to people who haven't given you permission to do so, well, that's in breach of their terms of service. And it can result in your domain being flagged as spam, which means even your emails going to real clients will start going into the spam folder. This is a really bad place to be, and it's very difficult to recover if this happens. So what we need to do is instead buy separate domains for our cold email outreach efforts. Then we need to use a dedicated cold email outreach tool. Now we use Instantly. I've used a few different providers including Lemlist, but at present I would recommend Instantly as it's the easiest to use. So first we need to buy our domains. You can do this manually yourself, which I'll be honest is a really complicated process, or if using Instantly, they have an option whereby they'll set up the domains for you. Trust me, it is worth the money, it will save you a headache. Once we have our domain set up, we need to warm them up. If you buy an email domain and immediately start sending high volumes of cold email, you will end up in spam. So what we need to do is warm up these emails by sending a small volume of emails to a trusted network. Instantly has a tool for this. All you need to do is press the warm up button and it will take care of it for you. You'll need to leave each email account you have for a minimum of 2 weeks to warm up before sending any cold email. Then, once your emails are warmed up, you need to start sending cold emails as low volume and then increase them over time. So originally we start by setting the send limit to 5 emails. Then every 2 to 3 days, we increase the send limit by 5 each time, up to a maximum of 30 emails being sent per account. And that's the goal. We want to be sending 30 cold emails per account per day. And we also want to have 20 warm-up emails per account per day. This ensures longevity of your email account. We've had accounts running for well over 1.5 years that have maintained a 99 to 100% health rating by not exceeding these numbers. If you push beyond these numbers, the chances of your emails ending up in spam greatly increases, which means having to set up new accounts and warm them up again. So if you want to scale and send more emails, you just need to buy more accounts to send from. Okay, so now we have our system set up, but what numbers should we be hitting? How do we know if it's a success? Well, here are some benchmark metrics. These numbers vary depending on your list, your offer, and your target audience, but hopefully they will give you some guidance. Firstly, open rate. Aim for about 50% or higher. If it's lower, tweak your subject line and the first line of your email. Secondly, reply rate. The target is 5% or so, although this will vary depending on your approach. And finally, bounce rate. Keep it under 5% to protect your domain. In general, we've also found it takes roughly 500 emails sent to get an opportunity. So just be aware, if you want to have 5 sales calls a day, you'll need to be sending roughly 2,500 emails a day. Now, how can we optimize and improve these numbers? Well, we want to A/B test everything. So this means split testing subject lines, email length, and CTAs. Instantly makes this really, really easy. Now, there are some really common pitfalls people get into when sending cold email that can be very easily avoided. So if your emails aren't getting replies, you're likely making one of these mistakes. Mistake 1 is bad targeting. You're simply going after the wrong people who don't actually want or need what it is you're offering. The solution to this is go back to your ICP, refine your filters and re-verify your list. Mistake 2 is spam triggers. So avoid phrases like free, limited time or act now. Instead, write like you would speak to a friend. We want email providers not to see us as spam, and we also want to avoid the human bullshit detector. Mistake 3 is slow follow-ups. Prospects forget really, really fast. So when they do get back to you, reply within minutes if possible. Instantly's Unibox feature makes this much easier. So this will will allow you to build a successful email campaign, but getting replies is just the beginning, which is why in this video here, I've broken down our complete end-to-end system where I show you how to turn those replies into paying clients with a bulletproof follow-up strategy. This is our signature system, which has been tested with millions in ad spend, generated over 250,000 leads, and I'm giving it to you for free. It covers how to clarify your messaging and also how to use omnichannel remarketing to make your email even more effective. So check it out now. I will see you over there.